So Gwyneth Paltrow decided to do something decent, or attempted to do something decent, on the behest of celebrity chef Mario Batali. Now, he nominated her to take the food stamp challenge, which, unlike a lot of celebrities, she accepted. She was like, okay, you want me to live on $33 a day? Or, I'm sorry, $33 a week? Challenge accepted. In fact, she went a little bit over that. She went to $29. But she made a little bit of a mistake. And Twitter, of course, lambasted her for it. Now, first, let me explain exactly what she did. Now, her point, which was a good one, was to raise awareness on how hard it is to survive on food stamps. A fact that I'm well aware of, and I'm sure those of you watching, some of those watching and some of those listening, are also aware of. Now, she tweeted out, "This is what $29 gets you at the grocery store. What families on SNAP have to live with for a week." Well, what exactly did she buy? Here's where she failed. Now, she bought a dozen eggs, a head of lettuce, an onion, scallions, an avocado, an ear of corn, kale, 1 tomato, 7 limes, which a lot of people seem to be taking a lot of issue with, the limes. All right. Cilantro, a package of tortillas, frozen peas, whole grain rice, black beans, 1 jalapeno pepper, and a sweet potato. Now, this seems like a sort of Mexican themed style week. Problem with this is that it's not representative of what you can actually, a normal person can actually survive on for a week. This is like 2 meals. And actually, the math, somebody from the Frisky named Rebecca Vipon Brink, she actually broke down the math, and she said, well, you can't survive on this for a week. This is actually, if you go on this and eat exactly what Gwyneth Paltrow ate for an entire week, you'd literally be starving. Oh, which makes sense, because Gwyneth Paltrow is kind of a small person. So, now, let's go into her math. Now, Paltrow's groceries don't provide nearly enough calories for a normal human being. Even with the eggs, rice, beans, tortillas, Paltrow's haul adds up to about 7,059 calories. Just over 1,000 calories per day. Now, an average woman from the age 24 to 50 requires 2,000 calories per day. Meaning that if you were to buy what she bought, you would literally starve. Wow. So, kind of a fail. Look, and if it works for Gwyneth Paltrow, it works for Gwyneth Paltrow. But it doesn't exactly represent how the average person lives on a food stamp budget. Now, like I said, there's a lot of different people. She's the only A-list celebrity that's done it, but there's been some other celebrities, and there have been a lot of politicians that have also taken the food stamp challenge and realized, wow, this sucks. You can hardly get any food. You're mostly hungry throughout the day. Living on food stamps is super hard. Now, her idea isn't exactly representative of what the average food stamp recipient actually has to buy. Besides, you see a lot of vegetables and stuff, and I'm not saying that it's impossible to eat healthy like that. I mean, there are some things on there that are great ideas. The beans, the rice, of course, great idea. The lettuce even, the eggs, there's some good stuff in there, no doubt. But, that you can be creative with and come up with some pretty good meals. However, she kind of leaves out the fact, and a lot of people do leave out the facts, that not everybody has access to this kind of food. Not everybody has access to vegetables. There are people in food deserts, as some of the Twitter haters pointed out, rightly so. Like, I'd be right there with her, except that I think that it does a really good job not just at pointing out and bringing attention to how people live on food stamps, but on how disconnected people are from, like, people who are wealthier, how disconnected they are from normal people who have to survive on food stamps. Remember, most people on food stamps work. Most people on food stamps don't have time to put together fancy meals. A lot of this stuff requires a lot of prep time, or a lot of creativity. Something a lot of people on food stamps don't have, and I'm not saying creativity, I'm saying prep time. A lot of people have 2 jobs. You can't exactly spend time, first of all, going back and forth to the store, because vegetables don't keep. They don't keep very well. That's one barrier. So you have to continuously go back and forth. You don't get a lot in food stamps to begin with. So not only are you going back and forth to the store, but it is very expensive just to get the veggies themselves. I'm not saying it's impossible to eat healthy on food stamps, but it is very difficult and requires a lot of time investment that some people don't have. And also requires, like I said, consistent transportation. And when there is a large majority of people who are on food stamps that are disabled or elderly, sometimes transportation is very difficult to find, especially in order to replace vegetables or get more vegetables every couple of days or so, since their shelf life is pretty low. You have to go to more, as necessity, a lot of people have to go towards more of the processed foods, the frozen foods, the canned foods, etc. Stuff that's not exactly super healthy, but it is cheap. And that's sort of the thing that this highlights, is that you have a very difficult time buying food that's cheap enough to sustain a person on a food stamp budget. What she bought, as the math points out, cannot sustain a normal human being for a week. It's impossible. The math, it does not add up, especially since a lot of people who are on food stamps work and have families. They need even more calories than 2,000. And this only totals up to 1,000 calories per day for a week. And some of that stuff won't even last for a week. So it really kind of points out how difficult it is. And look, it's a fail, but it is a well-intentioned fail. And I wish more people would do this to learn. Now, I'm sure after this criticism, she probably thinks, well, that wasn't a great experiment. It actually is more difficult to get enough to survive. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to get into Gwyneth Paltrow's mind. However, I'm not going to be as hard on her as some people are. As somebody who has survived on this, I at least appreciate when somebody makes an effort to understand the difficulties of living on the food stamp budget.